Welcome to the Rugby League Outsiders prediction video. This is the only prediction video on the internet that counts, in our opinion. There's no way Karl's going to get this right first time. My name's Craig.
My name... You're a knobhead.
I knew it.
Why did you do that?
I knew it.
And my name's Karl. Saints put in a clinical performance against Trinity, and Leeds came from behind to beat the Leopards at the LSV. Now it's round 22 and the Battle of the Brick.
Battle of the Brick. Right, before we get into that, let's do our rapid fire recap. First of all, on Thursday night, massive game, Leigh versus Leeds.
Round 21 kicked off with Leeds Rhinos against the Leigh Leopards. Leeds came from behind, 2 scores from behind to defeat the Leopards. A stunning performance by Lockie Miller, scored a try and an assist. The final score was Leigh 14, Leeds Rhinos 22.
Moving on then, Warrington Wolves took on Wigan Warriors.
Wolves 18, Warriors 24. Warrington struck first with a stunning Thewlish try, 80-metre effort. Wigan bounced back in the second half, a double from Jack Ferryman and a captain's knock from Liam Farrell. Wigan got the win.
This one split us last week. It's a tough one to call. Wakefield Trinity took on Saints. I got it right, by the way.
Trinity 4, Saints 34. An almost perfect defensive performance by Saints. This really was, I would say, Saints' best performance of the season. A Kyle Felt double and Daryl Clark scored on his 400th Super League appearance.
Who's Sklark? Daryl Sklark. Anyway, let's get on to it. Huddersfield Giants took on Catalan Dragons.
Huddersfield registered their first home win of the season against Catalan Dragons, 18 points to 6. George Flanagan again with 14 points and another man of the match performance. Giants just need to start backing it up now.
Next game then, Hull KR took on Castleford Tigers.
Robins 36, Tigers 6. Jez Litton, Mikey Lewis, Artemog and many more all scored in this game. Hull KR remain their top of the table position and still 4 points clear going into the Battle of the Brick this week.
And then the final game of the week then, that Hull FC versus Salford matchup.
Hull FC 80, Salford 6. Don't really want to talk about this. A team that met on the bus before the game. It was always going to end up one way. Hull were just ruthless.
Okay, round 21 proving to be another excellent round. Moving on to round 22 now. Before we do that, Karl, we've got a couple of new bits of attire that we've been...
New stash, mate.
Yeah, that we've got. So these, I've got it on good authority, a.k.a. the fashion aficionado, Carlos Walker. This is a very, very good hat. I wouldn't know a good hat myself if it tripped me up, but I do like this. Although I do think I've got it a bit tight. It's cutting off the blood to my brain a little bit. But hopefully that'll improve my predictions a little bit. Karl, so this episode is sponsored by the rugbystore.co.uk who've supplied us with these caps. And I've got to say that the rugbystore.co.uk is the only place where you can get these certain brand of caps in the UK. Karl, fill us in.
new era caps, mate. The rugbystore.co.uk, the only place in the UK where you can get NRL, get all the NRL teams. They have the new era caps, the only place in the UK that sell them. They've got blackout caps, same as what Craig's wearing now, and the rest of the traditional team colours.
Yeah, and I wouldn't normally go. I've gone for the Newcastle Knights one, which I wouldn't normally go for. That wouldn't be my Aussie team of choice, really. But when I saw the blackout one, I wanted an emblem that just, that worked really well. And after a little bit of deliberation, I picked this one out. I really like it.
Bit of deliberation. It took you about an hour.
I'm always like that. Like sometimes, when you spend ages buying a car, like picking a car, you spend weeks. I can do that on like a pair of socks. Genuinely, I don't know if this is the right pair. So
tragic. Come on, get on with predictions, man.
Right,
big week this week.
Yeah, it is a big week, and we're also in the middle of August. So Thursday, the 14th of August, sees our first game. We've got Warrington Wolves currently sitting in 8th place with 18 points, taking on Catalan Dragons sitting in 9th place with 12 points. Kicks off at 8 o'clock on Sky Sports Plus. Warrington 3 from the last 6, 3 losses on the bounce there for them, and Catalan just 1 win out of the last 6 games. Interesting that it's 8 versus 9th.
Yeah, Warrington put in a really good performance this weekend, didn't they? They just can't get consistency together, can they? So, but the last 2 weeks they have performed well. They're not getting it over the line. I mean, you watched the Wire game in more detail than I did, because I was watching the Saints Wakey game. So, how did they play Wire this week? I thought they played pretty well, looking at the highlights.
Yeah, well, last couple of weeks they've been a different side with Danny Walker.
Yeah,
It's easy to say that, and often. You've got to remember that one player doesn't make a difference, but he's so snappy at dummy half. His passes are so crisp. Strength and speed-wise, like, you've really got to account for him there at dummy half. And any slightest, gap, and he's away. And I think it just gives Warrington a little bit of edge in attack. But also some stiffness in defence, because he's one hell of a defender as well. So hats off to Danny Walker from his performance this week. And I think, sorry, Scout, but I think also that also sets a better platform for George Williams, who's had 2 really good weeks, playing. And this week's try, I mean, literally, George Williams of old, from nothing, squeezed through a gap like he shoehorned himself through the defensive line and scored a try in the corner. So, brilliant performance for Warrington.
So I'm going to throw it out to you here. George Williams v Harry Smith, who came out on top? Obviously Wigan won, but who had the better performance out of the 2 halfbacks?
Yeah, I think George Williams. And I just think Harry Smith is a little bit off the boil at the minute, albeit, they did take the win. And he's very strategic with his kicking. We know that.
Yeah,
He could literally kick a team to death. But I think George Williams just... I can't say Harry Smith scoring tries like George Williams is scoring or scored at the weekend, rather.
Yes, I saw that try. He got a great step on him, and George Williams. I think that he
skips. He skips to the outside shoulder, and I think it just catches players off guard. He's like, where the frick did he go? A little bit like you when I say who's making the tea, and you have this little skip.
Oh right,
I
thought you were going to say then. I thought you were going to say, like you when you used to play, you had a really quick sidestep on you. That's what I thought you was going to say.
No, you didn't have a sidestep. Well, you did actually.
I did.
You had a rapid first 20 metres.
Right, I'll take that.
Yeah, a rapid first 20 metres.
Put that compliment in a box, I'll take that.
Right.
So part 2 will play out this week as well, won't it? So this week we'll have Harry Smith versus Mikey Lewis. So we're starting to get a look at all the England halfbacks going up against each other. But I suppose we'll get into that when we start talking about the Wigan game. Thewlis's try, we've got to mention that. What an effort that was.
Do you know what stuck out for me though? Eckersley chase back. I literally thought he was going to get him, and he must have just gassed at the end. Bearing in mind he's done a 120, 130 metre, track back to try and tackle him, kept the pressure on him. Thewlis, it was like fingertip stuff, wasn't it? Close to getting. One hell of a try, amazing intercept, and to go from catch to sprinting full pelt within a split second. That's a true indication of athleticism to me. You know what I mean? That turn of pace. Amazing.
Do you know what I liked about it? He didn't over-celebrate it either. It was like, we're here to get a job done.
Well, he was knackered, wasn't he?
And the rest of the players were at other half at field. But yeah, he didn't over-celebrate it. Warrington were there to get a job done. Interestingly, they stood Dufty down this week as well. He is back in contention this week, I do believe. What do you think of that from Sammy?
I don't think they missed him so much. If I'm honest, would he have been like the icing on the cake and got them the win? Possibly, because you can break a game. We know that, but they just seem to be much better organised and much better than they have been in previous weeks. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes you can have these players and you sort of hang everything on them being game breakers, but if they disrupt a team massively, then they could have an adverse effect. I don't think it'll do any harm to sit out for a week, you know what I mean, and get hungry again. And, there's obviously some stuff going on in camp there. There's obviously a few rumours that are getting banded around, and it's not for us to kind of speculate and all that. But we know he didn't turn up for training, and that's why he was stood down. So I think I think it was a brave move by Sam Burgess. We know he's got balls anyway. You know what I mean? He's always had balls, hasn't he? But, he has been a talisman for Warrington in their performances this week. To sit him down, because of some disciplinary discretion is a brave move.
Yeah, interestingly, right, I said last week if Warrington didn't win, their season was over. I should have paid more attention to who they've got coming up in the fixtures. So I've actually taken a look at the next sort of 5-6 games and who each team's got to play. We are going to dive into that on our Set of 6 show this week. So it ain't over for Warrington yet, especially if they can keep playing how they have done the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and anyway, get some troops back.
Catalan, what do you make of their performance at the weekend? I thought Catalan are just going through the motions now. I think there was some improvement there, but I really did think Huddersfield blew them away a little bit. Yeah,
it's almost like they slipped back to days of old where they never really travelled well. Often they didn't travel well. And it was a little bit like that this time. We know that they've got this building period coming up, under Joel Tompkins, and a few. They've got to create some kind of unity, and they've got to create an environment where those top class players that they've brought in, although aging, can perform at a high level.
Well, the Giants pack outdid Catalan's pack. Do you know Catalan only had 4 play the balls in Huddersfield's red zone? That speaks volumes, doesn't it, on the territory that these two sides were getting. And I thought Huddersfield's defence was tighter, and Catalan's forwards just didn't really make a mark on the game, and essentially that's why they lost. Catalan's season's over. I think Joel Tompkins just wants to get to the finish line now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So we've got to call this one, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm going for a solid Warrington win. I think they'll win, and I think they'll win easily.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're going to use this as to get their winning ratio up. So they can make it sort of, well, it'll stay the same, won't it? 3 from 6. However, they can lay a platform, to push on and build some momentum.
See if they can get into that top 6.
Yeah, well, mathematically they can. Like you say, we're going to go into that much deeper in our Set of 6, but mathematically they can. It only needs a couple of losses and some wins from those, and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and then they've got the skill then to push right on and trouble any team. So, it's going to be interesting, that discussion. Looking forward to it.
Let's move on to the big one then.
Yeah, moving on. The big dance Friday night. We've got second place Wigan Warriors, who are currently sitting second place. Like I said, 32 points, taking on Hull KR, top of the shop, first place with 36 points, just 4 points in it as we speak now. Wigan 4 from the last 6, as are Hull KR. This is going to be 8 o'clock on Sky Sports Action. Do not miss it. The brick, what are they calling it? Battle of the Brick?
Battle of the Brick, yeah.
Yeah, don't miss this. It's going to be one hell of a game. Interesting. I'm going to throw it out right now. Mikey Lewis may have picked up, he's definitely picked up a knock. I don't know how this is going to affect the game.
Yeah, but Wigan are also without a few players, but we don't know Wigan's lineup either at this moment in time. This is why there's quite a lot of intrigue about this fixture earlier on in the week, as we're recording now on a Monday. So Bevan French was named in the 21-man squad against Warrington, didn't feature, but is that an indication of he may be back? Luke Thompson, I think Matty Pete spoke about Luke Thompson. I think he's close to returning. Wouldn't surprise me. He played his cards quite close to his chest when he was asked about these two players. Wouldn't surprise me if both of them feature on Friday night.
Well, it's such an important game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. It's almost like one of those 4-point games that people talk about sometimes. You know what I mean? Because we're going to either, really importantly, crucially, get 2 points closer to Hull KR.
Yeah.
Or Hull KR are going to, increase the gap between them.
Well, I think we can almost say if KR win this one, that's it. League Leaders Shield is in the bag, isn't it?
Oh, you got to say that.
Yeah,
you got to say that. Karl, in the Twitter sphere, as they call it now, don't they? Whatever. Who would you say is like the fans' favourite to win? If you took a summary from the Twitter sphere.
I don't know, actually. I think KR fans are very confident and they've been pretty confident all year, aren't they? But I think it's the Wigan fans are not quite sure how they're performing at the minute, and this one will be the big acid test. I think I just can't wait for it. But neutrals, I think they're similar to us. It's like, yeah, we know how good Hull KR have been playing, but you just don't write Wigan off because playoff rugby league is where Wigan come alive, and this is one of those big games, and they'll get the best out of Wigan in this match.
Well, I mean, there was a poll. I saw a poll this morning in Rugby League fans, right? And all indications were Hull KR were the favourites,
right,
in the neutral. Whether that group has just got more Hull KR fans in there, and you don't know. It's not a scientific, test or anything like that. But that's how it stands at the minute. Now, let me throw this out. We know Matt Peake can be a crafty little cat, right?
Yeah.
This, chances of Wigan taking the League Leaders Shield? Slim.
Slim.
Therefore, is this game really worth anything? Why show your hand? Why throw everything into it if all you got to do is get to the playoffs?
Yeah, no, but psychologically, whoever wins this, it's massive. So who won the game earlier in the year? It was Wigan, wasn't it? That was Hull KR's first defeat. So if Wigan beat Hull KR again,
they've done the double on them.
Psychologically, what's that going to do to Hull KR when they go?
But what's that going to take, physically, to do that? I'm just saying,
it's just another game.
I think if Wigan lose this, I don't think they'll be overly concerned. I know they'll want to win because they're true, professionals. You know what I mean? They want to win. I don't think they'll be because in the grand scheme of things, all right, they might get the League Leaders Shield, but they're still in the playoffs. You see what I'm saying?
I think Hull KR need to win it though.
Yeah.
Psychologically, they need to win this game. They lost to Wigan in the grand final last year. So we know how well Hull KR can play, and they've been the best team all season, haven't they? But in those big games against Wigan, they psychologically need to know that they can win these games. And I think if Wigan win this, I really question whether Hull KR will go on and win the grand final.
Can Hull KR win this without Michael Lewis? Because he's not going to be 100%. We know that. He had to have an injection in his shoulder at the weekend. At the end of the game, he was shaking hands with his left hand, and his right arm was limp. It was almost, he was protecting it. So he's not 100%. That draws into question how much training time is he going to have this week, in preparation for this big game. And then is he going to be 100% when he plays?
It's a tough question, that. I think Hull KR do. I mean, they've got a star-studded lineup, but he is that little bit of extra X factor, isn't he, on top of Hull KR? And yeah, if he isn't fully fit, I do question whether they'll win. I know there's a lot of Hull KR fans who are going mad at what I'm saying there, but he is the difference. He really is the difference. There's some great matchups to look at this week, by the way. I'll just throw a few of them up. So let's hope Mikey Lewis is fully match fit. So you've got Harry Smith v Mikey Lewis. We keep talking about it week in, week out. That England shirt's up for grabs. Mikey's going to want to prove that, that shirt's his this year.
Yeah, he is, and I think they'll both understand the gravity of this matchup.
Yeah.
They will, So, definitely an interesting one.
And then you got Joe Burgess on the left wing up against Liam Marshall on the right. I mean, Joe Burgess left out of the England selection at this moment in time, but what he scored 3 tries last week, scored 4 tries the week before. I don't know how many tries he actually scored this season, but he is racking them up this year. Against Liam Marshall, who's been one of the best wingers in Super League all season. So how do you see that matchup playing out?
Well, there's another factor to this as well. Like Joe Burgess, former Wigan player.
You know what I mean? So
returning to the Brick Community Stadium, the crowd, they're going to be all over him as well, and there's nowhere to hide on those wings. You know what I mean? He's a cheeky sod, isn't he? They gave him the microphone again this weekend.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, he did. And I was just waiting for some I don't know, blunder or whatever. He didn't come. He was very professional, but he's cheeky on the mic. You know what I mean? So I don't know him personally, but I take it, he's a cheeky lad.
He's a bit of a character.
Yeah, he's definitely a character, and he'll be giving those fans some shit, no doubt. So there's that as well as a factor. Liam Marshall, I think if old Budgie, let's talk to him like we're best mates. If old Budgie can get into Liam Marshall's head, Liam Marshall, he can get rattled,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He can get frustrated, he can get rattled. And so
I think Marshall's got the better defensive game, though.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do think Marshall's got a better defensive game. They can both score tries. 100% they can both score tries. Let's have a look at the hookers then. So you got McAlorum and Litton. going up against Brad O'Neill and Cruz Leamy. There's literally going to be 4 hookers on this pitch this week. Both sides like to rotate the hookers, don't they? So that's a really interesting matchup. And not only is it an interesting matchup, I think how Willie Peters and Matt Peake play their subs this week could have a massive effect on this game. I would likely think that McAloran will start for Hull KR, and he likes to bring Jez Litton on later on, as Matt Peake likes to bring Cruz Leamy onto the game. But I thought Cruz had a really good game when he came on.
Yeah, no, he did. He's and he always supports well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know, as every hooker should do, and I never did. But anyway, so yeah, he always supports really well. Interesting. We've almost got like the same form. You've got like a robust, hard hooker in Brad O'Neill and Mickey Mack.
Yeah,
so that's an interesting. And then you've got a flighty, you know, very, very deliberate. If there's a gap, they're going for it, and an ability to kick in Jez Litton and Cruz Leamy. So, you know, an interesting matchup.
I think KR will definitely start with McAloran though. He'll just want to put the fire into the game.
I think they've got to. They've got to give Brad O'Neill something to think about. Right? I think Brad O'Neill could try and bully Jez Litton, maybe even nullify him a little bit.
Yeah.
Big hits and, you know, and smashing him and what have you. Not that Jez Litton's like susceptible to that. You know, he's enough speed and skill to get himself out of there. But, you know, I think they'll have Brad O'Neill on there versus Mickey Mack, and it's just going to be, they're just going to be battling. It's just going to be a battle. Niggle. Stuff that we can't hear or see because it's off camera, or you know what I mean, or the microphones are just not picking it up. And same again, Mickey Mack, back to his old stomping ground. You know, that's where he cut his teeth. So
I can say we're excited about this game, aren't we?
100%. You've got to be. First versus second, you know what I mean? And really, really, really exciting. I think we went to this game last year, didn't we? It was absolute belter. We did.
Yeah,
was it the playoff games?
Right, we've got to call it then, mate. We've got to call it. I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks. I'm going. It's Wigan. Insemba's out.
Yeah.
You know, he got absolutely taken out. He was on a different planet this weekend. Obviously, collided with a hip. I don't think that makes too much of a difference in their like defence, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But I think Hull KR are going to win this. I think they're going to take the win.
Right, I predict a Hull KR win as well.
Do you?
Yeah, I just think they're a little bit more settled.
Yeah.
I don't think Wigan are quite firing at the minute. I'm likely to be proven wrong, but I think Hull KR are going to win.
No, I completely agree. And I also think that Wigan have got the, you know, I think Matty Pete at the end, if they do lose, he's going to be like, yeah, whatever, we're still in the playoffs, let's go. You know, final's a different day. I think he's got that. All the pressure's on Hull KR. In my eyes.
Oh, the pressure's definitely on Hull KR.
Right, shall we move on to Saturday then? Saturday, we've got 10th place Castleford Tigers taking on 5th place Leeds Rhinos. Castleford's 10 points in the league compared to Leeds' 28 points. Cass just 1 win from the last 6 and Leeds 4 from the last 6, including that win over Leigh last weekend, which I'm pretty sure would have taken something out of Leeds. Kicks off at 3 o'clock on Sky Sports Plus.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly one side in a lot better form than the other. However, Castleford, they did put up a fight against Hull KR this weekend, but it was nowhere near enough. I mean, what did they concede? I think, you know what, mate? You got this one bang on. You said that Hull KR were going to win by 30 points, and it was 36 points to 6. You got it absolutely bang on.
Did I not get a clean sweep last week?
Come on, anyway, let's move on. All right. I don't know, did you? Yeah. I think you might have done, actually.
Yeah, I did. I think I did.
First time for everything.
No doubt someone will go back and analyse it all. And
first time for everything. Anyway, Cass, I thought Alex Mellor played really well. He had a good knock. Just doesn't quite have enough players around him. You know, what did you make of Cass's performance?
I think it was really spirited. I think that, you know, they could have gone there and just rolled over for a little tummy tickle, and they didn't. You know, they really they put a shift in, and I think Chris Chester will be really happy with their performance.
Did you hear what they said to him? They asked him after the game. They said, "Did you learn anything about your players this week?" And he went, "No."
Well, I mean, that's one of those like Sky Sports
Wayne Bennett moment. That is.
Yeah, well, it's just a non-question, isn't it? You know what I mean? Do you learn anything? And you just roll out the duty answer. Oh, you know, we're resilient, you know, blah, blah, blah. We never roll over and die.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know. So, and he was just like, no. And I've got a lot of time for that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's got to be better questions than there. And I also think sometimes, well, very often, they'll do like loaded questions. You know what I mean? Where they'll say, you must be really proud of your effort there, particularly such and such on the wing. You know what I mean? And anyway.
That's my interview style, like.
well, there's a brilliant example of that later on in the set of 6, actually, when you're interviewing Clint.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about like whether Aussies like
value international rugby
over state of origin, and you told him the answer. Literally.
I was trying to stir it up a little bit. I mean, that's what I was trying to do there. I had my England cap on for a second. Anyway, right, back to Cass and Leeds. Leeds played really well at the weekend. I think they had a lot to prove going into a high pressure Leigh Leopards stadium, which we know how that place is bouncing on a Thursday or Friday night. And they went behind early doors, didn't they? But they had enough grit and determination. They just stuck with Leigh long enough to get themselves back into the game, and then really mounted an attack in that second half. I thought Leeds were really good. Yeah,
really solid performance across the board. I don't think there was anyone that was particularly weak or stood out. I thought Hankinson made a couple of little mistakes, whether that was just jitters at a new club or whatever, or just not knowing the processes and the systems that Leeds play to. That said, he did put in some good work as well. So
great half-pack performance by both Brodie Croft and Jake Connor. I thought they clicked really well this week. Jake were back to his cheeky best one here. Some really good kicking. In fact, he's 40-20.
Ball finds its way to Connor, looking for one of those 40-20 efforts. He's got one. This is a great kick. Wow, Jake Connor turns the pitch around. Leeds having to defend for large parts. Well, it's becoming a
that he kicked in the first half, I thought was a bit of a game changer. I think really swung the momentum the other way around. And did you see how deep he kicked it from? It was like stood behind the 30 when he kicked it, and it landed well within the 20. I thought his 40-20 were brilliant. I thought his kicks, crossfield kicks to set up the tries were really good. And then if you look at Brodie Croft,
over halfway they go. Here now is Watkins. Watkins looking for the pass to Miller. Miller stumbles through, got Croft with him. Croft to win it for Leeds. Brodie Croft denied early on, scores late, and it's a try that might just send Leeds into the top 4.
Brodie, he was fired up, he took the line on, and his support play was class as well, and he stuck on the back of Lockie Miller to end up winning the game for him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Do you remember when we went to the Super League launch and you had a big crush on Brodie Croft?
I don't remember that.
You were like, oh, yeah. And you were both laughing and joking about their SoundCloud playlist and all this. And I was like, Jesus, lads, get a room, will you? And you were like, oh, nice denim jacket. It was sickening.
Do you know what was good, though? Do you know what was good? To see how fired up he was for that game. I like it when a player brings so much passion to a game, and when he scored that final try at the end of the game, you just saw his face. That meant something to him. That did. And if you've got players playing for your badge like that, it's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's been a couple of weeks where whether he's been stifled or just not quite had the opportunities. I think sometimes it's very easy to just kind of rely on Jake Connor to come up with like a moment of brilliance.
Yeah.
And, this week it was very different. I mean, he had to put himself in that position to score that try. He really does. And, it's good to see. And he's living up to that legendary shirt number, from another smaller lad, let's say. You know what I mean?
Not easy to wear that shirt, is it? Yeah. Last player I want to mention with Leeds at the minute, because I think he's making a real big difference for him, is Callum Watkins. Callum Watkins just keeps rolling back the years. He had a brilliant performance on Thursday night.
Well, Callum Watkins was renowned for, again, just putting on a little bit of a sprint and getting onto the outside shoulder, and he'd trouble any defensive line. If they're not sliding, if they're not covering each other, it really puts the pressure on them. And I thought he'd lost that. I put my hand up. A couple of weeks ago when he first signed for Leeds again, I thought, right, that part of his game is done. Now he's in the second row, loose forward, whatever, and he's just going to be, he's going to be playing out that role. He's still there. as he proved at the weekend.
Yeah, he's
class act.
He's adapted his game, hasn't he? And he's a player that he's got another couple of seasons in him. If you look at how he's playing at the minute,
Easy.
One of the form back rowers in the competition at the minute, I would say, and you wouldn't have thought that. You wouldn't have said that at the start of the season. I think it has helped that he's moved from Salford. I know he was doing well at Salford, but being around some better, higher quality players is really helping him, and he's just leading the charge at the minute for the Rhinos.
Last thing I want to say, obviously today is the day that Brad Arthur should make his decision.
Oh, right.
He's been offered an attractive contract, let's put it that way. I don't know the ins and outs of it.
He said that like you knew how many zeros it had on it.
No, I have no idea anything like that. I know that one of his sons is reportedly, in talks or has signed for a Super League club for next year, so that's going to make a big difference. Leeds Academy.
Wait, I'm going to. That was the first thing I was going to say. Who do you reckon Leeds are signing next year?
Who knows?
Do you reckon?
I don't know. I mean. Possibly. But it'd have to be good enough to get in the first team, because you don't want your foreign players to be playing reserve grade rugby. They need to be playing in the first team.
No.
Now, I know he's a good player, isn't he? So, who knows? And Dad might get him in the side anyway.
It wouldn't surprise me if Brad Arthur ends up staying at Leeds next year, if his son ends up at Leeds. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
But I think any team in the Super League, he'll stay. So anyway, he makes a decision today. At the time of recording, we don't know what that decision is. But I mean, if he extends, if he signs, I think the Leeds fans are just going to be like Christmas has come early.
I think it's a good move for Leeds. I think it's a good move for Super League in general. I think we need a strong Leeds Rhinos, and I think I think it'd be a good move for him.
Yeah, well, I don't know what'll happen if he doesn't sign, because they're in turmoil again then a little bit, like, well, who's going to take them forward,
Paul Rowley. Anyway, right, it's predictions time.
Yeah, Leeds win for me. Relatively comfortable win, although I think Cass will put up a spirited fight in the first half and then just won't really have the fitness. I think the battle against Hull KR will have taken it out of them, and it'll be a Leeds win.
Yes.
Loads of you saying that you fucking saw that coming.
Yes, spirited wins don't get you victories, though. Well, spirited performances don't get you victories, though, especially against the Rhinos. I'm going for a Leeds win. I think it'll be at least 20 points.
So we agree so far on these 3 games.
I'm copying you this week, because you got 6 last week.
Yeah, there you go.
Allegedly.
Right, moving on. Also on Saturday night, we've got Hull FC taking on Leigh Leopards. Hull sitting in 6th place with 23 points. Leigh Leopards sitting in 3rd place with 29 points. Hull FC currently 3 from the last 6, including their 80-point. I think it's the best win they've ever had in Super League history at the weekend. Leigh losing out to Leeds. 4 from the last 6, kicks off at 5:30 Sky Sports.
One of the biggest Super League wins of all time. Just awful to watch. I mean, I turned it off. I just couldn't watch it. The Hull FC are getting some players back, though. Will Price is back in the side now, and Asiata's back. He makes a massive difference for Hull FC.
Yeah.
And they've got some tricky games coming up at the minute. I'll plug it again, but in our set 6 we look at each team's run-in for the final 6 games, and Hull FC have got some tricky games coming up. They might have that 6th position at the minute, but it's not necessarily as easy as some of the other teams. So they've got to really put some strong performances together to maintain that 6th position. Leigh, though, is going to be a difficult task this week.
Yeah, and we all know Hull FC's form at home, which hasn't been great this year. So you bring in a strong side. There's a reason why they're 3rd place with those points. To then play them at home, I don't care who's coming back. That stays with you. That identity of like not being a particularly strong team at home. It becomes part of your DNA until you can shake it off, and that is their identity this year. It's going to be a tough ask.
Yeah, it will be. Interestingly, Zach Hardacre this week played in the halves, and I was looking back, I was starting to think, is there a position that Zach Hardacre hasn't played this year?
Yeah, he's like
he's definitely played fullback. I'm pretty sure I've seen him play on the wing. Which it wouldn't surprise me if he's been in the centres.
Yeah, he's been in the centres.
He's definitely been in the back row. He's played loose, hasn't he? And this week he played half-back. he's played nearly every position on the field. I mean,
and he's kicking. He's like, right, the theme tune, sing the theme tune. You know what I mean? And he was doing the conversions this week as well. In fact, did you see the kick? Bounced off both uprights
both posts and over.
You know, try that again with your trick shot.
I mean, what a player. If you want to sign a utility player, Zach's your man, isn't he?
Well, and again, questions asked when he did sign for Hull. You know, was his time done?
Yeah.
You know, was he the player that he had been in the past? And again, he's found his form. Clearly doesn't mind. I mean, some players that get bounced a little bit from position to position, they'll sort of say, "Oh, it's been a bit of an unsettled season." Well, he's just thriving, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not really had a bad game in any position that he's played this year. And Zach, I think
he's clearly gone to John Cartwright. Just tag me in, coach.
Just get me in.
Don't matter wherever. I'll play wherever. You know, like you do, like. You know, your amateur side. Yeah, I'll play wherever, mate. Yeah, just bring your boots. I'll slot you in somewhere. You know, and fair play.
Yeah, but they're going up against Leigh this week. Now, we know how well Leigh have been playing. I know they didn't win against the Rhinos, but they were off the boil a little bit with Leigh. But overall, the last 6 weeks, they've been putting in some terrific performances. And I think it's going to be a difficult afternoon for Hull. I really do. I think... yeah, I mean they weren't that far off Leeds, were they?
No, not at all. You know, it was really, really tight, and it's same again. Like to go to the line like that must take it out of the whole team physically. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're putting everything in to get that win, and you know, although they've got a long turnaround, there's still going to be like residual. Bruising and battering and all that, isn't they? So, but then again, maybe they come out much hungrier.
Yeah, so, I'm going to call it. I'm going to go for a Leigh win. I'm going for an away win this week.
Could literally be a toss of the coin for me, and I'm going to go.
But Will Price and Attire have both been back. Almost sways it, but I'm just going for a Leigh win.
Right, I'm going to go for a Hull win.
Oof.
Based on the fact that, I don't know, just to go something different from you, really, more than anything else. But, you know, this is a tight game, which is hard to call. It really is so. And I know there'll be people out there screaming, who are you talking? Are you talking crap? But, you know.
6 from 6 last week, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I must know something. Right, let's move on to the Sunday. The Saints taking on the Giants. Saints currently sitting in 4th place with 28 points. Giants in 11th place with 10 points. Saints 5 from the last 6. We've been saying, you know, for weeks now they're going about the business and gradually building. Giants 3 from the last 6, kicks off at 14:30 Sky Sports Plus.
I thought Saints were absolutely brilliant at the weekend. I was really impressed with them. Their defence was absolutely solid. Their forward pack was just steamrolling the Trinity pack.
Yeah, Wormsley on fire again.
Wormsley, Sirinen, Matty Lees, they all had brilliant games. And Wakefield just really struggled to handle Saints. And I didn't see the gulf to be as big as it was. Really impressed with Saints this week. Really impressed with them.
But they need those players to be firing every week, and they haven't, have they?
We say that, but then when we look at where they are in the table, I think you can get distracted by a lot of the outside noise, can't you? Like when Saints lose one game this year, it's a massive deal, isn't it? And the Saints fans have got on top of the head coach when they lose one game. But actually, if you look overall the performances this year, they've been getting the wins, and like you said, they've kind of gone under the radar for a number of weeks. But I thought it was Saints' best performance of the season. What a time to start putting your best performances of the season together. Just got to see if they're going to really back it up this week now against Giants.
Well, you would expect them to. I think Tuilolohe is out at the minute, is he, for Giants? I mean, he's got to be, well, on the pitch, one, and firing, you know, for Giants to have any kind of chance to beat the Saints. And I think some of these big players need to have absolute shitters. You know, this is Saints' game to lose, in my opinion.
100%. 100%. I think if Saints play anything like they did against Wakefield, they're winning this game. 100%. I thought Tristan Saylor was brilliant at the weekend. Every kick, every half break that went through, he mopped everything up. Do you know what? do you know when Wellesby's back? I don't know if I don't know where they fit them all in at the minute, because the half-back pairing and with Tristan Saylor at full-back this week really worked for Saints. No doubt they'll configure it somehow to make it work, but it was great. Harry Robertson, again, just an absolute danger on that centre. He's having a brilliant season. I just liked what Saints did at the weekend. And Darryl Clark, 400th Super League game, 12 runs from dummy half. That makes such a difference to any side. Just gets them on the front foot so quickly. They were great in attack, and their defence just strangled Wakefield. They left no gaps for Trinity this week. I thought the defence was absolutely superb.
Right, let's not labour the point too much. Let's get into our prediction. Unless you've got anything to say about Giants.
Not really. I thought Fenton Rogers had a good game. Zach Wolford, 9 runs from dummy half. He played well again. And like I said, they really played the game.
You know we're missing someone out here, George Flanagan. George Flanagan tore. Just unbelievable.
Brilliant.
Like that kid, I don't know where he's going to be next season or in the next couple of seasons, but the world is his oyster.
Line! Go 4. Still 4.
And it's going to start very central position, round about 25 metres out from the try line. So advantage Huddersfield here. Flanagan goes! Georgie Flanagan! A trademark try for the young fullback. Brilliant score. Breaks the deadlock. Saunters in. A real swaggering try.
There's got to be NRL clubs looking at this kid at the minute. There's got to be.
Man of the match performance again. I don't think Giants will be able to keep hold of him for much longer. There's going to be a big money move coming for him in the next 12 to 18 months. Definitely. Yeah, it was great. But I don't think even with George Flanagan playing his best rugby, I don't think it's enough to get over Saints. I think Saints are going to be far too strong. I predict a fairly one-sided affair in this game. I'm going Saints by 20 points.
Do you think Flanagan out Lewis Dodd in? That's interesting.
You never know.
You never know. Right, okay. Saints win for me, comfortable win. So good luck to the Giants though. Right, moving on, the final game of the round. We've got 12th place Salford with just 4 points, taking on 7th place Wakefield Trinity with 22 points. Kicks off at 3 o'clock. Salford 1 from the last 6. As we know, Wakey 3 from the last 6. Couple of little blotches on their record from the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but they're not going to lose to Salford, are they? Wakefield win easy. They'll walk it all day. It'll be another embarrassing moment for the sport. There'll probably be 60, 70 points put on the board again. It's terrible what's happening at Salford, but as a prediction show, mate, there's not really much to go on here because, how do you predict a team that meets each other on the bus before the game is going to go on against a Wakefield Trinity side who just love playing free-flowing rugby? They'll absolutely tear them apart this week.
Yeah, we are going to go into that story a little bit more in depth in the set of 6, so check that out to hear our opinions on that. Right, what points you got for both Salford and Wakey?
I'm going for Trinity are going to win. It's going to be at least 50 points.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
And it's sad that we're saying that. It's awful to watch. If there's ever any game that they want to hide on the Sky Sports Plus button, get that on there because nobody wants to watch it.
What do you think Wakefield could do with this game to either develop themselves, or do you think they'll play a bit more free-flowing? Do you think they'll stick to the normal systems and processes?
I think they'll stick to the normal systems and processes because Wakefield are a free-flowing side anyway. They like to throw the ball around. They like to bring the centres in on crash balls. It's going to be a cricket score again.
Max Jowett, hat-trick.
Yep. And the thing is, what's really worrying about it at the minute is that teams have to, points difference could come into play now. So it's not like Wakefield can rest players because they know they're going to win the game. When you got Hull FC, who was one of their teams that they're competing with for that 6th place, are putting 80 points on Salford one week, Trinity have got to go and do exactly the same the week after, because the points difference could really be important at the end of the season.
Yeah, so they've got to play out the skin to get the points difference up. The 2 points isn't enough for that middle slice. There's 3 teams in that middle slice fighting for 6th place.
There can be no compassion there or anything like that. They've got to go and hammer them.
Yeah, okay, right. So that's it. We're both going for a convincing, well, a very, very, very heavy Wakefield win, and that brings the show to a close. Any final afterburners, Karl?
Yeah, I've got a great episode dropping this week with Clint Goodchild, owner of York Knights, should I say. We dive into everything from IMG, York's perfect season that they're having this year, and a lot more, even a bit of Ashes talk in there. It's a great episode. It's well over an hour and a half long, but there's some great detail in there. Really want to watch.
You didn't always see eye to eye either, did you, Karl?
Oh, mate, English, Aussies, either side at table, you know how it's going to go down, don't you?
Yeah.
Especially when we're in an Ashes year.
Okay, right, so until the next video, take care.